Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be able to speak to you today. Thanks for taking the time. What an incredible movie. For people who haven't seen it yet, though, what can they expect going into G20?
I think it's just pure entertainment. I mean, escapism and Die Hard, really. I mean, you're probably too young to remember Die Hard, but it's that kind of, just thrilling adventure. And then what's different is there is this lovely family in the center of it. And I think you can tell that it's been directed by a woman. There's a sort of tenderness, a care to the story of the mother and the children in it, and that around that, there's this huge adventure escape action movie where just about everything blows up and So just great fun.
Yeah, I just had a chance to speak to Patricia actually, and she was saying, those movies we grew up watching, Die Hard, Air Force One, maybe we don't see enough of the films that just sort of, and they've got those characters which we feel so invested in, and perhaps wanted to kind of revive that, but like you say, maybe with a bit of a female lens. So when you got the scripts, what excited you the most?
I think what you're always looking for is that the person you're going to play changes a bit, that they do have some sort of, especially in some sort of, I haven't done many action movies, but if it's all shooting and, you think, well, what's the point? Everything's exploding. Whereas if the people actually learn something, or at least a little bit different by the time they've been through everything in the film, then you've suddenly got something to play and a place to go, and the audience can latch on to you. I also thought it was funny, and that's a real delicate balance, because in a film where it's all about jeopardy and, I was constantly thinking, everyone's supposed to be terrified and scared, and if I just say one little funny thing here, will it sort of ruin the drama of it? But it doesn't, I think. And I think all those films that you're mentioning, they all have a bit of a sense of humor about them and a bit of wit, and even the Bond movies and Harrison Ford, they always have, they know they don't take themselves too seriously. So I think there was that element to it as well, and plus South Africa and of course Viola Davis.
And coming to your character, what's so great about the concept, I guess, is that it provides this opportunity to bring in all representatives from all different countries. Obviously, you're the UK one. Where were you kind of taking your reference points from for your version of a UK Prime Minister?
Yes, unfortunately, we've had our fair share of clowns as Prime Minister of England. As I was saying just now, some of them have only lasted, feels like we change them every 3 days, certainly. But I suppose it's an amalgamation of a lot of those. You can decide watching it who you think that is. It's all of them hope to be Margaret Thatcher when they grow up. None of them will be, I don't think. He starts as this entitled, public school, probably women-hating, distrusting, doesn't like Americans, doesn't like foreign people at all, thinks he rules the world, and, quickly gets taken down and is a complete and utter physical coward, and then learns something and, gets a little bit wiser about the whole world and about people throughout the film. So it's kind of great little journey to go on.
And you were mentioning Viola Davis. I guess she kind of sets the tone of the film in lots of ways, because there's kind of it's like a black female prime minister. Let's try and envision a world where that's the case, and there's that kind of representation element to it. But then she's got this action element, and she really pulls off all the stunts, also playing a mother, that relationship with her kid, and also, nailing these one-liners. What was it like seeing her take on this role?
She's a real force of nature, I think. I've worked with a couple of these stars now. It's quite interesting that I worked with Jennifer Lawrence, and I think there's a similar thing where on set, you're looking, of course she's doing these stunt things and the fight things, so that's all pretty extraordinary. But also there's just so much going on. So when you're acting with someone, you think, oh, I thought they might do something else there or do this differently. And then when you see it on screen, it just is much more powerful than you thought. So there's a real mastery of the craft that that this is going to land, my face is going to be this big, they're going to, that these thoughts, there's so many thoughts going on that and feelings that they trust that that'll all come over. So, and as someone who, I move between theatre and film and directing and acting and writing and all these different disciplines. So, she's a consummate film actress, I think.
And did you have a favourite scene, either you were in, that you enjoyed doing on set, or even when you watch back the film now?
Quite liked driving the Beast, and I quite like watching Viola beating people up, really, and just sort of screaming like a terrified ninny in the background.
And in terms of the takeaways, I mean, like, first and foremost, it is one of these big popcorn movies, and it's just great to go along for the ride. But, there is this kind of emotional backbone of, thinking about sort of how we can relate to someone who, even if you are the most, you've got this responsibility of being the leader of the free world, you've also got to deal with your family and, the difficulties of raising a teenage daughter. And then other elements about, the creep of AI in our lives, et cetera, et cetera. So what some of the takeaways might be?
The AI thing, I think, is incredibly relevant. The idea of, the deepfake thing, which is happening already, that someone can just take what's true and what's false is really... I mean, there's a lovely line in the film when they say, okay, I think people know that these are deep fakes and these world leaders aren't actually saying these things, but they still believe them. And they're still having an impact, and they're still changing people's votes and changing people's... So what do you believe? Even if you think that you're being manipulated, and that's pretty frightening, the way that's happening. I mean, I'm not anti-AI at all. I'm very I think if it was cars coming in now or electricity, I'd go for it, So I like all the new technology, but I think it just has to be handled responsibly. And the other element of the film that you're talking about, I think, in a way, if there's a mother and she's dealing with a family, there's a sort of beautiful microcosm there of what it is to be a leader. So if you're leading a country and those little microcosms of how to listen more to someone, how to, encourage someone, and how to incentivize people, how to, to be fair in certain situations, that as that person is doing that, that's a microcosm of how that person would run the world. So... that sort of works in a political aspect, I think. And
we have to say a word about Anthony Starr. I mean, I've always loved him playing Homelander in The Boys, so I think there's maybe a bit of that being channeled in here somewhere, but, I mean, he just takes on this villain role so well. What was it like seeing him play that?
He's just a natural villain, isn't he? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him be someone I'd trust. So, and it's just, I love all those sort of, Bond villains are just great parts. So, and he delivers 100%.
And you were saying there, done so many aspects of working in film and theatre and writing. Is there an aspect you love more than the other, or is almost being able to do the full gamut of things part of the joy? It's
always what I'm not doing, So if I'm in an action movie, I'm thinking, why can't I just do some Shakespeare for 3 years, Royal Shakespeare? And when I'm there, I'm thinking, what am I doing? I should be earning loads of money in a movie, and and just now I'm writing a lot. So I've written a lot. I've written a musical that's going to be on 101 Dalmatians. So that's on in summer in London, and the event in Apollo. Giving my little trailer for it now. So, I've written all the music and lyrics to that. So, in fact, when we were in South Africa, I had this keyboard in my hotel room. So I would come back from being shot at all day and then just be playing these, writing these songs, which was... so it's I don't know, it's something in me that I'm always trying to balance the thing that I'm doing with something opposite, I suppose.
Any itches you haven't scratched yet? What might be on the bucket list? I mean, it seems like you've done a bit of everything already. But
I don't know, yeah. Just give me the time. I just need more time to get it all done.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me. Huge congrats on the movie. Can't wait for everyone else to see it.
Thanks very much. Bless you.